Okay, hello friends, and welcome to CareersTalk. In CareersTalk, we invite industry experts to share their valuable experience with all of us. And today, I'm glad that Rajesh Kumar is joining us from New Jersey, United States. He's a passionate agilist working closely with large organizations. And today, he's coming up with very interesting topic that is Agile in Motion organization, where he's going to tell us about what you can do as a beginner Scrum Master in your next 1 week, 2 week, and 1 month, right? So, friends, before we start, if you are new to our channel, please browse our channel. And if you find some valuable content, please do subscribe. And don't forget to like this video. Your one like is a big motivation for all of us. So, with this thought, welcome Rajesh, and thanks for giving your time today. Rajesh.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Sunil. Great meeting you. I know we have been talking about doing this session for a decent amount of time. I'm glad that we are doing this, and I'm happy to share my experiences and my learnings from all these experiences with you and the audiences who are listening to this podcast or video cast. Yeah, sure. Thank you. And as you mentioned, I work for various multinational companies. I've been traveling between India and US for quite a bit of a time. I've been in the industry for almost 17 years now. I've been an agile practitioner for a very long time. Passionate towards transforming a lot of IT organizations into agile way of executing things. So that's my goal, and I'll do my best to share with you in this session how a Scrum Master could be successful in an organization in the first 2 weeks of time. As you know, we all are working as an agile practitioners, Scrum Masters, adapting the agile way of doing things. But then when it comes to real execution, real implementation of your skill set, or when you get into a new role, you have to be agile at the same time. There's many organizations do not give you that leverage to take your own time. They want you to hit the road and then start running. There's no crawl, walk, and run concept there. You just need to touch the ground and then start running. That's how the nature of the companies would be. Many of the organizations would be, and that's reasonable because we are adapting agile, so everybody wants to be agile and they want you to be also agile and deliver as soon as possible. So we're going to learn today what does it takes for a Scrum Master to be successful in the initial 2 weeks of joining.
Great, great. Thanks, Rajesh. And I believe, Rajesh, this is our just a part one, and definitely you are going to come up with more similar topics in the future, right, Rajesh?
Yes, that's a very good point you brought in. So I want to give you a brief, right? I said, what does it takes for a Scrum Master to be successful in the first 2 weeks of joining? Which means, what is 2 weeks again? I mean, many of the organizations, as we know, we conduct sprints in 2 weeks time, like majority of them, and there are 4 week sprints as well. We all know that. But ideally, 2 weeks is something that many organizations have. So what does it takes for you to be successful in the first 2 weeks, which is first sprint? So you're setting up a sprint for you to be successful, right? The second thing is what I wanted to clear or give you an understanding. There are two kinds of organizations, primary. One, where the agile is already in motion. When I say in motion, they're adapting it in whatever the scale it is. It is in a fast-paced scale or completely matured agile organization. It could be anything, but they have adapting it. The agile is in motion. And there are companies who are in the transformation journey. So they're planning to adapt the agile, right? They're planning to adapt. They're trying to set up a path for agile transformation and seeking everybody's help to be contributing to the transformation. These are two kinds of organization: agile in motion and then transforming organization. Today, we're going to learn about what does it takes for you to be successful in agile in motion organizations. It's a whole lot of a different ball game. How you're going to perform already agile in place organization versus transforming organization. So we're going to learn today about the agile in motion organizations and what does a Scrum Master should do.
Great, great. And I believe you have some presentation for us, Rajesh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's kickstart the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. There you go. And share. And let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, I can see. If you can do F5, that would be great.
I
Yeah.
just did that.
Yes, yes. It's perfect now. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sunand. So I want to start with this slide, a very interesting slide. You know, information is everywhere, and knowledge is being shared by a lot of experts around the globe. Maybe the similar topic. If you Google it out or YouTube, you search in YouTube, you might find a similar topic presented by different experts. You know, everybody has their own way of doing things, their own perspective. They come up with their own experience. So in this session, I want to emphasize whatever you're learning, whatever you're hearing from me is all about the perspective that I have learned from my experiences, my success journey. And so you're welcome to adapt this thing because I have used it and I have followed the same process. So I was successful in it. So I'm just trying to put that expectation. This is all about from my learnings and my experiences. All right. So as I mentioned, the Scrum Master Sprint. So the day you join an organization, and especially agile based organization as a Scrum Master, you got to set yourself a sprint, the first sprint. So that is called a Scrum Master Sprint, right? And that is going to be a key for success for you. And that will set a success path for you going forward. That will create a lot of confidence for your team, for your stakeholders, and entire organization. And that's going to give you a lot of credibility going forward in terms of being successful as a Scrum Master. So we're going to talk about what are we going to do in the week 1 and week 2. I'm picking up 2 week sprint. And so what does a Scrum Master do in the week 1, in the week 2, in this entire journey? Okay. So week 1, I have heard some of the learnings, some of the experiences from other experts in the industry. We try to use this. We have been listening this word. Take your time. Take your time. And then learn about your organization, learn about your employees, learn about your team. Take your time, listen to the process. And then some of them even mentioned that you can take up to 4 weeks or maybe the first month you can take and try to learn from what is happening. To me, 1 month is too much of a time to even observe. It's really a lot of time to observe. And I personally feel maybe 2 weeks is it's a great time for you to observe and learn. At the same time, in this 2 weeks time frame, you can actually deliver a substantial output, and we're going to learn about what that output is going to be session. And so let's start with this. So 2 weeks time frame, week 1. In the week 1, you set up a time for you to learn about the organization, to learn about the customers, and definitely to learn about your stakeholders, your team members, most importantly, the product and the process, right? So you're going to set yourself the first week just to know all these different set of things. Know your customer. How, again, what do you mean by know your customer? You need to understand what the company is, what the company's services are, products are, understand the company goal, vision, mission, understand the expectations in terms of delivery, in terms of what this company has been adapting with the customers, right? Let's say they're delivering some product to the customers. What level of expectation the organization is setting up with the customer, the quality of the product, the scalability of the product, whatnot, right? So understand about your organization, about your customer. That is the key. And how do you do that? A lot of ways. You go to you start with obviously customer the company website. You do a lot of Q&As with the people that you're meeting in the company. you talk to the team members, you talk to your stakeholders. A lot of ways you can learn about this, right? The second thing is stakeholders. Lot of times, I know this is a very, very confusing word in this industry. A lot of times, stakeholders has been understood differently. Stakeholder means customer. Is that a true statement? Absolutely not. Stakeholder is not customer. Stakeholders are those people who are directly impacted by the project. It could be within your team, it could be you, not it could be, it is your team, it is all the people who are getting impacted in your team because of this project, is initiative, and anybody, everybody within your organization who is getting impacted, and also the customer side. All these people who are part of this initiative, who are getting impacted by this initiative or the project or product, they're called stakeholders. So learn about your stakeholders and understand how the communication mechanism is being set between the stakeholders and the entire team. And definitely very important thing, know your team. Learn about your own team in terms of who they are, where they belong to, what geographically, where they are located, the skill set. Understand as much as possible. Try to set up one-on-ones with the team. And if you have a big team, it's very difficult to achieve one-on-ones within 2 weeks. I understand that, but definitely do have a group call, get some introductions. At least start with that, and then connect with your product owners and connect with your other key roles in the organization and the team and the initiative. So yeah, know your team. That's very important. And then knowing your project. So for any Scrum Master or any team member or a product owner, anybody in the organization, without understanding the product, without understanding the project, trying to deliver something is difficult. Just because we know how to run it, how to run a daily stand-up, how to run a retrospective, how to run, demo sessions or whatnot, just so that we understand the Scrum process. Just keep doing that is not going to help you. You need to understand the product. So you need to make a meaningful conversations. Wherever you are, even it is a stand-up, it is a retro, it is a sprint planning, it is a grooming session, wherever you are participating. It's very important to make some meaningful conversations. It is important for you to understand the product and the product journey. So always learn about the product. It doesn't need to be technical. Understand how things are being done, what are we delivering, and what are the benefits and values and whatnot. All right. Process, anything to do with the process. This is your area, right? This is what we're gonna do. This is where we're gonna create a great value. So understand the process, the current process, what the team is following right now, and understand the process gaps, and then definitely conduct a retrospective meeting. Multiple ways to understand the gaps. The one way is definitely retrospective, which we are all very familiar with, and it's an intuitive way as well. So try conducting a retro, ask good series of questions. You know what? Sometimes I go into retrospective in the first week of thing, and I also put a question about myself. What do you expect from me as a Scrum Master? And try to learn from them. What is that they are expecting from the role, from this role. Just giving an example. So yeah, understand the process gaps. So there you go. That's your week one, right? Understanding the customer, understanding the organization, your team members, stakeholders, product, process, right? That's your week one. So any questions, Sunan? So far, you think?
No, I'm good.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So let's jump into week two, right? So we are now done with, if you're working in an organization with 5 working days, so your 5 working days is done. So the first week is done. And spread across those 5 days, the initial 5 days, how you gonna learn about organization, how you gonna learn about the team, when to conduct the retro, and then definitely capture all the data that's coming from retro and all that. Keep it ready for you. So the week one is all about learning and collecting the data. The week two, the first and foremost thing that you're going to do in the week two is prepare a presentation. Now that you have gathered a lot of data, right? You understood the process, you understood the team, you understood the stakeholders, you understood the company, everything is great. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to put up a presentation for yourself, right? You're going to say the current status, you understand the process. And then you're going to put, hey, you know what? This is what I've learned. This is what the process is. And I've identified some gaps here. Maybe I would love to propose some of this, future state. And then just don't propose it. It is important for us to execute it. So you need to be defining an execution plan for that. So let us say, for example, um, your Scrum team is not conducting retro. Do you want to enforce it on the day one? Maybe not. But what is your execution plan? You're gonna show them. You're gonna conduct a session, educate your team. What is a retro? What we are going to perceive in the retro, and then show them some good examples of it. You anyway did a session already, so you're gonna show them some examples of what is the outcome of the retro and how the data being used, and then how the data will be utilized for the future optimization, improvements. So give that statistical information. Anyway, coming back to this presentation, not only just putting through what is the current status, what are the gaps, and what are the future improvements that you're proposing, you also need to put an execution plan. Very important. And then now, along with that, you define some key performance metrics. What does that mean by, right? You now have a presentation where you're defining everything, a strategy and execution plan. And then out of this execution plan, what are you going to get from that? What are the KPIs that you're going to derive from that execution plan? What is the adoption rate? How healthy the environment is going to become? How you're going to measure the quality of the product or the scrum or the sprint or whatnot, and how self-organized the team is going to become, and how the velocity is growing. These are the couple of few standard metrics that you need to start capturing once you execute it. But in this session, in this presentation that you're putting, you are defining, you are mentioning what metrics you are going to capture and how you're going to present it to stakeholders going forward. So what you're mentioning here is you're mentioning all the presentation about the current process, about the gaps, about the execution plan. Along with that, you are promising that I'm going to give you, these are the KPIs that I'm going to track and present to you month on month basis or what. So be ready with the presentation. Once you're ready with the presentation, now it's all about buy-in, right? What is buy-in? Getting a nod from your stakeholders, getting a nod from your team. Yes, let's go ahead and sell this idea. It's all about selling your idea, selling your thought process, right? So now the buy-in is all about now present this entire presentation to your stakeholders. Tell them this is how you are going to execute this plan, and these are the metrics that you're gonna capture, and this is the goal for each and every sprint. The goal one, I should be able to adapt retrospective process. Goal two, I should be able to actually do a demo, conduct a demo session. As of today, the project is all about data, and so it's all about pulling data and presenting data. So we don't see a reason why we should create demo. You know what? Every engineering activity can be presented. Simple. So I have seen organizations, I have seen some of the teams where they feel the nature of the work they're doing is not presentable. That is not true. Anything can be presentable. It's just we need to identify what to present, right? So you're going to set up those goals. On the goal one, sprint one, I'm going to implement retrospective. On goal two, I'm going to go ahead and put up conduct the demo sessions. On goal three, then we'll have some other process to be implemented, or maybe we'll work towards better estimation factors and all those things. So you're going to set up these goal factors based on the gaps you identified. You have listed all the gaps. So on 1 to 10, and then what are you going to achieve? What your execution plan on which sprint? What you're going to achieve is something present the stakeholder. This is something people love because now you are going very strategically, and not that, hey, next sprint I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna implement retrospective, I'm gonna implement demo, I'm gonna do a great velocity. That is not promising. That is not strategical. That is not actually a logical also. So you need to go in incremental way. So present this, get a buy-in from stakeholders, and I'm pretty positive they will love it. and they will give you feedback if there is anything, and take it, improvise it. Now, the buy-in is from the engineering team. Very difficult. They have been adapting this process for a decent amount of time. I said in the beginning, you all remember, right? Agile in motion, which means the agile is already in place, already in place. They're implementing it. They're adapting some kind of process, right? Um, so this thing, by getting a buy-in, getting getting engineering to be convinced with your idea is a tough job. And that can only be achieved various ways, basically. But in this session, I'm going to stick to one process. Definitely share the presentation, what you have developed, share the data that you have defined, right? This is something I've identified. In an ideal scenario, this is what that should be, but we are doing like this in my previous organization, or in an organization in this kinds of organization. Based on my experience, I have seen something like this being implemented. It could be any process, in the entire circle of Scrum process, or anything to do with the logistical estimations, or having a right way of a definition of done, or whatever the gaps you're identifying. I'm not sticking to one thing, but the point I'm trying to make is try to come up with a certain data. Show them some historical information, where you were successful. Present them the current data. Present them how this is going to help going forward, and then discuss with them. Also, give them a chance to participate. Give them a chance to voice out, which means out of all these things that I put forward in front of you, what do you think that we can adapt immediately? What do you think can be a fast follow? What is fast follow? Immediate thing, right after the immediate thing. What would take a lot of time? So let's discuss, right? So let's everybody voice out their opinions, tell what they can actually look at. Okay, this is something we can immediately start trying. Maybe this is something we'll keep it as a fast follow-up. Let's listen from them. So it's more like a collaborative discussion. It cannot be enforcing. Obviously, agile or wherever you're going, the process cannot be enforced. Process can only be it's a collaborative event, collaborative thing. All right. Yeah, try to get a buy-in from engineering team. And then once you are done with the buy-in and everything from the stakeholders and from the engineering team, great. That's your week 2. Week 1, it's all about collecting data, identifying the gaps and everything, and knowing the people. Week 2 is all about getting a buy-in from your stakeholders and your team to execute the plan that you have defined. So this is your first sprint. And this is how agile you can be. Instead of spending time for weeks and weeks just to observe, first week I'm gonna participate in all the ceremonies and keep listening. I'm not gonna do anything. Second week I'm gonna do the same thing. Maybe I'll take some notes and try to identify the gaps. Third week I'll try to start putting up something. Fourth week I'll try to do something. No, that is not that is not how the organizations are looking for. Organizations want you to be agile, want you to be hitting the ground and running as fast as possible. And so put yourself Scrum mastered sprint, the first sprint, achieve as much as possible within this. The second sprint is all about you as a Scrum master running the show. That's what I would recommend. That's my experience. That's what I have done in my organizations. That's where I was successful across this my agile journey. So I hope you learn something in this short session. So Sunand, any other questions you have?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when people join the organization, right? Initially, they are not aware about to whom to contact, and they sometimes lost.
Yes.
So, and it happened a lot of time, especially with a big organization, right? So, do you think that in those scenarios it will be a little challenging, and how any new individual can overcome those challenges or that apprehension, I would say?
No, see, this is a very great question, and believe me, in a project management world, it is called as identifying the stakeholders, who you will be working with. when you join an organization, who you will be working with is the biggest question. And the only way you can identify it is doing lot of Q&As, right? There could be one person who hired you, and then he will introduce to some people, and then you have to start questioning people, start asking more and more stakeholder information, going around understanding. When you understand the product, you understand all the different verticals of it, who are involved in this product. There is marketing team involved, there's sales team involved, there's other team involved, who are all involved as part of this. Again, you're not restricting yourself as a Scrum Master. I understand Scrum Master. Whenever we talk about Scrum Master is responsible for engineering team. Scrum Master should be coordinating with product owner, and then we don't talk about anybody else. So that's always there. Unfortunately, that is not how it works. Product owner, you need to get yourself introduced. Obviously, you'll know the engineering team. You'll be getting introduced to it. But beyond these two people, always understand the product. When you understand the organization, when you understand the product, you will get to know the verticals and try to start communicating with them. Try to putting the names to all these people who are getting impacted. Once you identify the stakeholders, then it's pretty easy for you to go back and define a communication cadence and when to approach who, and you being in the communications and across the organization, across that initiative, right? So yes, it is tough, but at the same time, it is not a challenging thing. You just need. We are all social beings. Talk as much as you interact, as much as you do a lot of Q&As. You will be able to find more information.
Thanks a lot, Rajesh.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
what we're gonna do, as I said, Sunand, this 2 weeks of your journey, which is Scrum Master Sprint, the first sprint, and we spoke about Agile in motion organizations, which means Agile is already in place. If it is already in place, yes, you can identify the gaps, you can identify the stakeholders, you can present your execution plan, what you can capture in terms of KPIs and all that, because the process is already in place. What about if process is not in place? What about if the organizations are looking forward, transforming to Agile, transforming to the agile journey, agile way of doing things? Then your approach is going to be different, absolutely different. It is not going to be the way what you are done here. The transformation journey based organizations, we're going to learn what you are as a Scrum Master going to do in the first sprint, and how you are going to help at an organizational level, educating the organization, setting up processes, and a lot of other things that we will try to take it up in our next episode. Whoever is interested, whoever has joined an organization who are just starting the Agile, the next session is going to be a very valuable thing.
Excellent, Rajesh. I'm really looking forward to the next episode, next session. Yeah, so that's great. I think this particular session is definitely going to help many people who are about to start their journey as a Scrum Master. So that yeah, they can. I think some are the real things which we normally see in our day-to-day organization, right? So I think this session is definitely going to help. And yeah, with this thought, really thank you, Rajesh, one more time. Today's a weekend, and then you've taken your time to just educate all our audience. So that's really wonderful. So thanks a lot, Rajesh.
Thank you, Sunan, and you've been doing great, and you've been contributing a lot to the Scrum community, Agile community. I really appreciate that, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Yeah.